So why do watches use jewels? Today we're going to be talking about something you probably never even thought about, which is jewels inside of a movement, a timepiece. And no, I'm not talking about like fancy treasures or fancy diamonds, but real working jewels that are actually super important to making a watch tick. Let's get into it. Okay, so inside a mechanical watch, the kind you have to wind or the kind that winds itself when you move your wrist, they're usually a bunch of gears, wheels, and tiny parts. Some of these parts spin hundreds of times a minute, and every time those parts spin, they rub against something else, either a gear, a pin, or plate inside the watch. Now here's the problem: when metal rubs against metal over and over and over, what happens? It wears down. Just like how the soles of your shoes or sneakers wear out if you keep dragging your feet. In a timepiece, in a movement, in a watch, if those parts wear down, the whole watch stops keeping time accurately, or it stops working altogether. So that's bad news for anyone who wants their watch to tell the right time. So this is where jewels come in. Watchmakers figured out a long time ago that if they put tiny synthetic rubies in spots where gears and pivots turn, they can reduce the friction, which means the part won't wear out as quickly. Rubies are extremely hard and very smooth, so they're perfect for this job. And they don't just help things move smoothly, they last a very long time, much longer than metal rubbing on metal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why rubies? Why not diamonds or something even cooler? Great question. The reason why synthetic rubies is because rubies are just the right amount of hardness. They can be made super precisely in the lab, and rubies are chemically as natural as something you find in a ring, but way cheaper and more consistent in quality, right? That's why we have boxes and boxes of different types of rubies. Well, this is from a vintage Inca box set. Jewels and watches don't just stop friction. They have another really important job, which is to retain and hold lubrication and oil. Here's the thing. Watches need lubrication, and just like bikes and cars do, tiny drops of oils go into certain parts of the movement to help everything move smoothly. Without oil, the parts would grind and wear down. But if the oil spreads too much, it doesn't stay where it's needed, the watch will run poorly because there's essentially oil and lubrication all over the place. All right, so jewels are perfect for this because they have tiny little cups or holes that hold on to oil in exactly the right place, right where the gears spin. It's like having a built-in oil dish for every important part of the movement. Okay, so let's recap. Jewels in watches, they help reduce friction so they don't wear out too fast. They hold on to lubrication and oil so it stays in place where it needs to stay. And then third, it essentially helps the watch run accurately for years to come. Fun fact, if you ever looked at the back of an old watch, you might see something like 17 jewels or 25 jewels. That number tells you exactly how many of these little synthetic rubies are inside the movement. So that's it for the video. If you like the content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Cheers. See you next week.